Jesse Marsh. You know, I talked about how he was recently, we talked about previously when he was appointed as Canadians men's national team job. We discussed that. We discussed the challenges. And I discussed, the issues I had with Canada making the decision late. Now, there was a little bit more that I want to add to that side of it. In Canada, we're in a very, their political, their Canadian soccer organization were in a very tough position. They filed for bankruptcy, and there's a lack of funds and their ability to go out and get a coach and to be able to afford it. So they actually had to get help from the MLS teams in Canada, the Montreal Impacts, the Vancouver Whitecaps, all that. And to make this decision, make this possible, in fact, the Canadian men's national team coach is actually, his title is the something MLS national team, the Canadian MLS national team coach, something ridiculous like that. They added MLS to the title because they're fun. I don't know, it's complicated. But yes, he is gonna be the he has gonna coming in. He's gonna take over. And he actually, had made some statements regarding this, this difficult situation Canada finds himself in, with him not having that much to prepare for the Copa America and these friendlies that they have against the Netherlands and France. He said himself, if I have a preseason with a club team, we would schedule a first or two against an opponent where it was a little bit easier, where we could have success, conceded Marsh. And that was after he announced his, 26 roster for the for June, and basically the Copa America squad. And then he said, "What a massive challenge! Even when looking at the difficult challenges in my career, trying to get this little 10 days right will be difficult. I want to give them enough information for them to understand how we're going to move forward, but I don't want to overwhelm them when they step on the pitch. They've got a million things in their mind." Marsh really emphasizes his desire for wanting to set up a team identity, and his first, squad of people had a very similar squad to the last time Canada, played with their interim coach. Was 20 of the 26 names the same. Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Tajon Buchanan, they're gonna all be back, and it's been a tough start not tough start, but it's been a very complicated start for Jesse Marsh. In essentially a week after getting the job, having to come out with his first squad, a big squad, and the fact that it's for Copa America. He said it, this is a quote from him: "It's been a lot of work and a lot of discussions, but all really good and helpful for me to have a good assessment as to where we are and where we need to go. What will be really important here is to develop an identity within the team and engage multiple people that we feel like can ultimately be a benefit to what we'll try to achieve with the national team now, in a month from now, 6 months from now, and certainly 2 years from now." And talking about that 2 years from now, Canada will be one of the co-hosts for the World Cup. They'll get to play all their group stage games at the World Cup. They'll automatically qualify for that World Cup. And we talk about this being a huge opportunity for the US to grow football, soccer into their nation. This is equally just as big of an opportunity for Canada to grow soccer in a growing culture for Canada as well. Now, this is difficult. Very, very difficult for Canada. Very, very difficult for Jesse Marsh to come in and implement his system. Because keep in mind, he speaks about, the fact that they're playing the Netherlands and France in their first two games, and they're doing this in Europe. And he said that's a difficult start for them. But to be honest, these are friendlies. These are friendlies to prepare for the Copa America. So for me, I don't know. I've had a little bit of a lack of respect for friendlies in my entire life of watching international football. I'm not saying I don't care about friendlies, and I especially think these friendlies coming up before international tournaments, the ones right before, they're very, very important to create some sort of cohesion and just to go in on a little bit of a positive note if you could get a good result here and there. But you know, I do realize, at the end of the day, in my head, it's still a friendly to me. Like I was watching a friendly game. Um, it was, I think it was before Euro 2021. I think France were going against Wales, and this Welsh player, after I think it was after 18 minutes, 19 minutes, somewhere in that margin, early in the game, he ends up getting a red card. And in my mind, I'm watching this just trying to, study these two teams entering the European Championship. And in my mind, I'm just like, oh, what a waste of 60 plus minutes now, or 70 minutes. What a waste of a game happening here, because a red card, I mean, in a friendly, it just totally shifts the dynamics of it. Like, the two teams, they can't really prepare the way that they're trying. We can't really get a good look on the prospect of these two teams. And it was just like, oh man, now it's just going to be a waste of time. Um, so, I'm going on this international friendly. So I'm just saying, the fact that he's, this Jesse Marsh is really going about these international friendlies, I don't think that's the main concern here. I think the main concern here is the fact that they open up the Copa America against Argentina. Keep in mind, Copa America is crucial for Mexico, USA, and Canada in terms of their development, in terms of getting ready for the World Cup in 2 years. Because these are the only competitive matches these three nations will have between the last World Cup and the following World Cup. Now, Nations League, they are competitive and all that, but they truly get much more competitive in the knockout stages. And, okay, so I'm going to refrain that. Besides Nations League, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, every other nation, they have World Cup qualifiers to prepare for. Canada, US, Mexico, they automatically go straight through into the World Cup. There is no World Cup qualifiers. So these games, these intensity games are very, very important. And they're going to be going up against talented opposition. Because this Copa America will have Argentina, will have Brazil, will have Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Uruguay. This Copa America will have quality teams that will give these CONCACAF nations a run for their money. So the fact that Canada opened up their Copa America against the defending World Cup champions, Argentina, that will be massive, massive concern for Jesse Marsh. Because if you go into that opening game and you get thumped by Argentina, it kind of, sets the tone for how the rest of your the rest of your Copa America might go. In these tournaments, especially in the stage of vulnerability, the Canada, or not just their national team, but the Canada Soccer Federation are in a period, in the period of being vulnerability, you want to get off to a good start to relieve the player, to relieve the stress of the players, to relieve the tension, start creating confidence, to get confidence into the groove, into the team. But not having the time to prepare and implement your tactics just make it that much harder for the Canada national team to do that. So for me, I think Jesse Marsh is really, really up against it at this Copa America. Now they open up their Copa America against Argentina, then they take on Peru and Chile. Now if we go to World Cup qualifiers in Colombia, as I pull up the standings, Peru are bottom of that with 2 draws and 4 losses, and Chile is not that far, third bottom with 1 win, 2 draws, and 3 losses. So when you look at it from that point of view, if you're as a Canada fan, you're going in there with life, because Canada do have talent in their team, and Canada do have a Tejan Buchanan and Alfonso Davies and Jonathan David. Those are 3 teams that will walk into the Peru national team and start from them and be their best players. They'll come into the Chile national team and start for them and be their best players. And so the talent is there for Canada. The profile of players is there. But is the team there, the footballing there? Is the team ready? Is the team unified? And I'm not saying there's problems within the team. I'm saying there's organizational problems just in general that start from the top. And when it starts from the top, it starts sprinkling to the team and all that. So very, very interested to see how this Copa America goes. Now I think it's very, very, very pivotal that they don't get dumped in that opening game by Argentina. Now you can lose to the defending champions. If you lose to the defending champions, it's not the end of the world. If you lose 4-0, if you get dumped in the opening game and you hardly get a kick, then you're probably in big, big trouble entering that Peru and Chile game.